What's up, folks? Hope everyone's having a great day. I have broken my rule today and I am re-recording this. This is the third attempt. Reason being is I'm going off on rabbit trails because I'm tired. And I wouldn't watch what I've recorded, let alone y'all. So that being said, let's get rolling. Basically today what I wanted to do, I'm going to clear up one thing about what's an AR15 rifle versus the AR pistol. What's the difference between an AR15 pistol and a rifle? And then I also wanted to go ahead, that'll hopefully only take like 90 seconds. And then after that, I want to go over what is it, what do I really need? How much money is it to really get into having rifles, stuff like that, to be able to be shooting, okay? What's the cheapest stuff, generally speaking, without going, with options, you got your ultimate budget, but it's still reliable is kind of stuff. I don't like to go with stuff that's not reliable at all. But, when you're working with a budget, you need to go with minimum standards, and I think that, reliability still needs to be in there, especially for the price. Okay, so that being said, AR pistol versus an AR15 rifle, okay? So here's a rifle. Sorry, excuse the fact that it has no grip on it. We'll just pretend. This one has been through some stuff. Mainly me toying around with it. It has a stock on it, okay? You can see right there. This is a stock, okay? This makes it an AR-15 rifle because even though it looks basically the same as this is an AR pistol, AR-15 pistol. Still takes the same mags, same ammo, okay? Now this one's a 10.5-inch barrel versus the other one that is a 16-inch barrel that I already showed you. Oh, but this is the part that makes it a pistol brace, okay? Right here. Still collapses, does all the fun stuff, but it has a split in the bottom so that you can go ahead and put it over your arm, your forearm, and then it would actually go over on both sides, and you can go ahead and Velcro it in place, and then it'll be a brace for you. Currently, ATF allows you to go ahead and shoulder this, like here, whereas in the past, there have been times where they're like, you're not allowed to shoulder pistol braces, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it is what it is. So that's the difference between those, okay? I highly recommend the pistol route. You can watch other videos that I've done to talk about what I like about them. So, but that's my recommendation. And if you do go 5.56, don't go below 10.5 inches. Yeah, don't want to do that. Okay, so getting into it, one of the very first rifles, actually the first rifle that I bought was a 22 long rifle, M&P 15-22. This little guy right here. You got your adjustable stock. You got Magpul. I think it's a polymer. It's not actual iron sights. Sorry, the one up front's missing because I was once again playing around with a bunch of different things. And then you use, instead of a 30-round mag, 5.56, you got 22, and you've got a gun. Looks a lot like the others. The only difference is it's shooting 22 versus the big boy, or bigger boy, compared to 22, that is 5.56. So big difference there, as you can see, okay? That being said, here's what it is. If you've already got an AR-15, even though this thing's designed to, it's super, super light. So I don't like to use this for training as much. Like, it's fun to shoot, and yeah, you can use it for training. I mean, Jerry Mitchell uses it for crying out loud, for training at times, and he's one of the best in the world. So, you can make it work. For me, I do like the weight behind this one, to be able to feel the difference, plus my barrel length and all that stuff, and my grip, and it's just one of those things. I prefer to be able to do everything with this, and get it as close as possible within reason. So that being said, I also like to save money on ammo, because it's expensive shooting even just a few hundred rounds a week. It gets expensive quick if you're shooting 5.56 or 2.23. You're looking at $9 a mag, so 300 rounds, $90. Whereas if you're shooting 300 rounds of this stuff, 22, you can get that for about 4 cents a round. So that's about $12 for 300 rounds. Okay, so anyways, moving on from there, the whole point is you could pick up this if you're just looking for something fun to shoot, but not for defense, not for home defense or anything like that kind of stuff. This is for fun, okay? And you could train with it, but it's for fun. more than anything, in my opinion. Aside from, once again, training really cheap, but that's assuming you got something else to be able to work in. That gun runs, I think, about 330 bucks. Comes with 3 25-round mags. I've got a dozen of these things because I use a CMMG conversion kit for my AR platform, and then I shoot 22 out of that AR pistol instead of shooting it out of this for training 99% of the time. So I like to have all these loaded, and that gives me 300 rounds, take the range, don't have to load ammo there, and then I load ammo while I'm watching movies. Or, as I'm now doing, magazine loading. What did I call that? Mag chat. Why not, right? So, that being said, let's move on. So, the M&P15-22, you can actually get the actual gun. Probably around 7, this is the Sport 2. But you'll notice up at the front, see these? I don't really like these as much. I believe these are 8.2 sights is what they're called, if I'm not mistaken. That being said, that's your front actual iron. You can pop on one back here. You know, I'd recommend probably, is it Magpul, I think makes them, the Pro Series. You know, I've got those right here actually for my backups on the truck gun. So you can see they're really slim. So here, back here's the back one, okay? And then up front, you've got, trying to keep it in the camera. There you go. It's much slimmer than the one, and they're actually really heavy duty, than this one, which is just a pretty big one. So comparison, there you go. Let's pop these here. I don't know if you see the difference there, but you're getting a slimmer, much more heavy duty package, given you're gonna pay more than double the price for having higher quality stuff. And the other thing you can do with these, you can actually go and flip this down up at the front. Depending on if you're close up or needing further range, you can go ahead and switch it out. Make it easier to be able to be more accurate. Okay, so something like this though, the M&P15-22, I think that's going to run you about $650, $700 with one magazine. It's going to come with a basic stuff. Basically, what's on here right now, it would actually have a grip, okay, and then no, I don't believe it came with a back sight, so you had to buy that if I'm not mistaken. And this part up here, the Picatinny that I set up, this is a drop-in. I paid like $100 for, and switched out from the traditional plastic grip that's up there. That way I could add an angled foregrip as well as add a pressure pad, right? So I couldn't do any of that because the plastic grip, you're just going to be running irons or like a red dot back here or something. I don't know how you would add any other kind of light or anything up front. There might be other ways to do that, but without a rail. But anyways, so that's the basics. Something like this would have, it'll have a belt loop strap there, and then back here, so you could, I'm saying belt, I meant to say for straps, just so you can go ahead and have like a sling is what I'm talking about. I do like 2-point slings, but there's a place for 1 point as well. That being said, yeah, I don't like that one as much. I mean, it's fun, you can get in fairly cheap, but the more important thing, instead of the M&P 1522, which is like $330, and then, I mean, we're going over the gun stuff first, and then I'll tell you all the other little things to get, like for the barrier to entry kind of stuff. But the guns, that's not too bad. I mean, you can get in for what, $330 by the time you pay taxes, maybe $365, to be able to have 3 mags, be able to go out, have fun, and shooting cheap ammo. So if you're on like a budget for under like $500, I'd say the M&P 1522 is a great way to go. If you've got a little bit more budget, or you're willing to get an AR-15 and then eventually, and just shoot a little less, do a lot of dry fire, and shoot less and do a lot of dry fire, and then get the CMMG conversion kit down the road. CMMG conversion kit's around $200. And then I recommend spending another 40 bucks on, I think it's called a Better Mag, by Ready Mag or something like that. And basically allows you to use these M&P 1522 mags instead of these MMG mags, which suck. So, because they're hard to load and they just suck. So let's see, keep going on that. I need to write notes. So let's go ahead and break down this rifle real quick. On basically, you can spend all kinds of costs on like expenses and stuff, but you're going to have, generally speaking, depending on where you live, you'll have a mag come with it. You probably want to get, I like to have 6+1 for, the rifle, but that's the way I am. You don't have to get fancy grip stuff. I like the more, I think it's rubberized grip mag pull, the MOE Plus. I like this grip a lot. This one's got an enhanced polish trigger, so it's EPT. It's a little bit better than maybe your standard stuff. Angled foregrip, you're probably looking at 30 bucks there. If you go with really nice backup irons, you're looking at like 100 each, so it's a couple $100. Pressure pad with a light. I just went with stream light with this, like 600 lumens or 1,000, something like that is good. With strobe, okay. Strobes, I think a good feature to have an option with, but that was probably around 140, 160. You can get stuff on sale here and there. This is not necessary. It's just something I'd wanted to get. I was able to get on sale too, for 199 bucks, so 200, and it's a 3 optical magnification here. And then the EOTech, I bought that brand new, but I was able to get that for 460 bucks. Once again, this stuff, it can get really expensive. A Law Tactical Folder might run you like 260 just for this little piece of metal right here, okay? But quality matters, especially in this spot. And then the rest of the rifle itself, the stripped lower, 50 bucks. And then all the parts kit, 500 and change to 600, depending on when you're getting it and what specifically. I like having the Picatinny all the way down the top, but this is, once again, this is my truck gun, my everything gun, my with me gun, my EDC gun, my home defense gun. I've got other guns, but that's the one that everything's in right now. And then I've also got a 10.5-inch 300 blackout barrel that I just got in. I wanted 8.5, but they've been out of stock a lot, and 8.5, 9.5 wasn't really an option for right now, so I've been like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the one that's available. They had a really good deal on it, it'll work. So even though I would like to have a little shorter for that, but I'm comfortable with 10.5. It's good, and I can swap out my uppers here. And eventually, what I'll probably do is just run the 300 blackout with everything that's on there and swap that over, and then use the 5.56 as my 22 shooting gun barrel and all that. Let's see, so we got all of that. That's a quick overview on like how crazy stuff can get. I mean, you can go through, and you don't have to spend the money on a lot of this stuff. You can get in, if you go to Palmetto State Armory when things settle down and not as crazy, you can get one similar to the MP, that with the original plastic and that A2 front sight, iron sight. You can get the whole gun, get an upper and a lower, and it'll cost you about 360 bucks, okay, plus tax. It's hard to beat that, that's a really good deal. And, like that puts you in the game of having a 5.56 with like a 1.7 twist, so that 1.7 twist means it's gonna get, the round will have one full rotation every 7 inches in length. So if you got a 14-inch barrel, 1.7 twist, you're gonna get 2 full rotations, which helps with velocity. So yeah, velocity. So my point being, once again, you can add on stuff over time. Get the original thing that you can get. I would recommend avoiding my mistake, because I think once you get it, instead of getting that $360 starter deal and then dropping in another $100 just on this super heavy quad rail, goodness gracious, this, you can go ahead and just start out with a 10.5-inch 5.56 AR pistol. It'll be a good home defense gun, and then hold off on your foregrip. Get your light. If you're using this home defense, get your light right away before you even get your sights. You need a light. Yeah, light's very important. If you can't see what you're shooting at, you shouldn't be shooting. Okay, so not in civilian life, like my life, there's no way. not having to worry about things like our men and women troops that are fighting different places worldwide at times. And you know, so once again, I would just argue that, you know, if you go the pistol route, if you can learn how to build them, watch some videos, stuff like that, there's stuff out there, you can go and save some money there. But you can go ahead and get through somewhere like Palmetto State, you can get all the parts kit and the stripped lower, and after taxes and shipping everything, you're probably looking at $600 for something decent, 600-ish. And then the light, I would say a stream light with a pressure pad for budget. Yeah, it's no crazy nice light, but you know, I mean, it does get the job done. It's good enough. So you're gonna probably look at $150 there. So that would put you up around $750, give or take a little bit. Probably more on the take part, and to closer to the 800. And then you still need a sight. And I really wouldn't recommend going with anything under 100, 120 bucks, even if it's on sale. Like 120, I've seen some on sale for 120, they're pretty good. But I feel like most of the time you're gonna want a red dot or a holographic, and it's probably gonna run you about 200. I've been able to get some for some of our guns where it's like 140, 150 on sale for a red dot. But a lot of the time it just depends on what you're doing. I like the Vortex, some of the SIG stuff's nice. I run an EOTech, as you can see on that one, which is a lot more expensive, but as we already went over, stuff like that. But that's still not super expensive compared to some of the stuff out there. Some of the stuff's insane. But once again, you know, like if you're, God forbid, having to use this for more than just having fun at the range, then yeah, you probably want the best equipment you can afford. So, you know, I'd say start off with the basics, you know, go from there. Don't worry about getting folders. Don't worry about, you know, I didn't do any of that on my first stuff. Now, knowing what I know now, I might have, and I might not have gotten some of the other guns. I've probably gotten different stuff. But once again, it just depends on the budget and availability, of course. I know a lot of people who are worried, and they're getting a little antsy about it here in Virginia because of a lot of the stuff that keeps happening and changing in the laws. And they're like, oh, you know, maybe I should just get this instead. And it's, they wanted, I know one in particular, they really wanted a 10.5-inch setup like I had, and wanted me to help them, you know, through the process of, you know, what to get and all that, and you know, lights and all that stuff, and how many magazines and etc. And so we were talking about all of it, and then they were getting a little antsy, and they were ready to go and just go into a store, and instead of ordering it and waiting like 4 days, they were ready to go ahead and jump in a store and just buy something. But thankfully they ended up waiting, and now they love what they've got, and it worked out good. So because when they got to the store, they were like, it's just not quite the same as what I was looking at, you know. So not to mention it was more expensive at the store too, for something similar. The other stuff, we've talked quite a bit about guns, stuff like that. Some of the other things a lot of people forget, I like to have, like, I just use a toolkit. I've got the video up on this on like my range kit, what I carry to the range, my range bag. It's just a cheap like $10 toolkit, and I've gone ahead and thrown different stuff in it. So I don't like to spend a lot of money on targets and stuff and whatever. I do double up ears when I'm indoors, particularly. I mean, I just double up all the time, but especially indoors. So I got a bunch of cheap foamies. I've been using, for a while there, I was using little cheapo like pricing dots and stuff or whatever from Walmart. But you honestly, you don't even have to do that. You can get other cheaper stuff than that. Sharpie, this is great. For outdoor stuff, every now and then we would use push pins, random stuff like that. Nails, I've got a stapler instead, be able to have some heavy duty staples and pop those up. But at my range, and then I've got some clips too. They're jumping. Some clips, you know. So at my range though, I just use the dots. I actually use poster board. And I cut my poster board down into 2 pieces, and then I have like a rectangle, and it's hanging, and I can go ahead. I don't need a target that's so huge, right? And a lot of people, I'm not exaggerating when I make these hand motions, like you can't even see them. They're huge, like they're bigger than an NFL lineman with his pads, okay? And I'm like, goodness gracious, you know, like that is a definition of broadside of a barn at 5 yards. Like, if you're not hitting targets there, those are feel-good targets. Now, I'm not out here to be critical. I'm not saying you should be like going for those little dots right off the bat, but you know, hitting something here, you know, is not a bad idea to aim for, like bowling balls at 5 yards, you know, 3 yards starting out, you know, like that's not that hard. So I don't like wasting money on a lot of extra paper for one target. So the marker, I go ahead and draw a circle on it, maybe put a dot in the middle if I really want to get fancy with one of those little stickers. But I find that as you progress, you can keep stuff if you're just going on, depending on what you're working. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff you can do, but if I'm working, you know, just low ready drills, getting up on target, then I like having the dots, you know, like you hear that aim small, miss small thing. Yeah, but I'm looking for speed. If I'm, God forbid, ever in a situation, I need to be able to not only hit my target, but I got to be able to move quick. You know, I'm not the one ambushing someone else. They're ambushing me. You know, that's not who I am. I'm not going to go out and do that to someone. But if I'm at home and they go ahead and just bust in the door, well, now I got to be able to move quick. Not only do I have to be able to get to whatever I have, which I always have something literally on me or right next to me at my home, and then pretty much everywhere, anywhere legally I can. That being said, if I don't, then you know, if I don't have the ability to go ahead and get to there and then get up quick and be able to move, like you know, I think that that's much more important. I think that the speed is underrated, and people overrate accuracy at distances they're just not going to be shooting at. You know, I mean, it's cool to be able to shoot stuff at 25 yards. I'm not even talking 100, 200, 300, 400 yard stuff. I'm talking 25 yards. Yeah, it's cool. But, I mean, I'm probably not going to be in that situation. So, do I do it? Yes, I do train and I shoot that way. But I spend the majority of my time within 15 yards, you know, because that is very realistic for me. Anything within there. And I would say even within the 15, a lot of that's spent around the 5 yard time frame. Right now, currently, just working speed. I'm trying to catch up to Lucas at T-Rex Arms. I mean, not catch up to him, but catch up to his standards and get there. He says that, you know, he's got a standard that certain size circle, I think it's only like yay big, 3 inches, I think, in diameter at 5 yards from low ready at the beep, being able to go ahead and hit it in under, consistently, under half a second. So 0.5 or lower. You know, so that, for example, for me, I've started out, and when I started working on all that stuff with a timer, once I finally got a timer, which is the next thing I wanted to mention, you know, I was probably around a second, you know, give or take a little bit, and but consistently around there. And I kept working, got it down to the 0.8 range pretty quickly. But then it was like, okay, now it's a little harder. Down in the 0.7 range, got there. Down in the 0.6 range now, but I've got, I think as you get closer and closer to that half second mark, it's every little bit makes a bigger deal, you know. So I've still got a ways to go to get there. I've only been able to do, I'm not consistent there. That's the problem. I can hit some in like 0.4. I think my best is 0.46. So I've broken half a couple times, but I'm not consistently hitting the 0.5s yet. I'm just in the 0.6s and middle upper 0.6s on a consistent level. So that being said, timers. If you're going to go ahead and practice and actually be having, like, it can be fun to do, but it's also something you can go ahead and do. If you're at the range, the thing that I would recommend is actually, let's see, I would actually recommend this. It's not cheap though. It's a Shop Max 2. It's a watch. I'm going to do a talk on this one day. But long story short, this has an accelerometer in it, as well as the audio, as well as the mic. And you wear it, and even if I'm shooting, I found there's 16 lanes at my range in the same room. So, why we double up ears? But that being said, when I have the accelerometer function set, I can shoot, and even though there's people shooting around me, you know, it's not picking up. It's because it's using the accelerometer. I found that it's accurate with it 95% of the time, getting all my splits proper and everything and the correct number of round shot. So I'm very happy with that, considering that I can't do that with any other timer. It's going to pick up everyone else that's nearby, and in this case, that's a lot of people. So in order to be able to train indoors with other people around, I need something like that. It's been nice. I thought that the watch might bother me or possibly slow me down a little bit and inhibit me. I haven't noticed that. Really, I feel like I can move just as quick, and I've been getting faster. So that being said, I like those. But once again, you don't have to have a shot timer right off the bat. What you have to have is you have to have the gun, preferably the AR pistol. If you're going to try to go the budget home defense route, go with like a 5.56. Okay, get a light, then get sights. Okay, that order: gun, light, sight. Okay, and you also, for the range, you're going to need some kind of eye protection. You're going to need the hearing protection. I showed you the foamies. You don't have to get something fancy. These aren't super fancy. These are Howard Light or Late, something like that, by what is it, by Honeywell? How about that? Whatever. Point is, they work, and they've got you can go ahead and they're battery powered. You can go ahead and turn a little dial, and they'll go ahead and they'll block out the frequencies for gunshots, and you can go ahead and talk and hear people and turn it up so you can hear better and stuff like that. But you don't have to have this. I wear this over top. Don't have to have it. You can go ahead and get it. I've got one pair I picked up just as an extra for anyone who forgot theirs that doesn't have the mic. I've got 2 or 3 that have mics built into them, but then I've got one that's just no mic. It's heavy muffs like that, you know, like just goes right over. And I still say people double up, and it's a lot better. It's just hard to communicate with others if that's the case, if you're with a group. But if you're there by yourself, you know, it's really not that big a deal. And you can get those for like 15 bucks. So that being said, looking at my range kit, that's why I keep looking down here. Targets, like I said, you really don't have to spend a lot of money on them. You can use all kinds of basic stuff. I got, let's see, got stapler. Oh, another thing you're gonna need. ARs like to run wet. Gun oil. I don't care what brand I get, just gun oil. And make sure you're keeping them wet. We can go ahead and go over how to oil those just to keep them going too in a future vid. But yeah, that's really it. So recap: you need the gun, you need a light if you're going, once again, home defense. If you don't care about home defense or whatever, you could go the MP 15-22 route for fun, for plinking for 22 only. But if you're looking at something that has some practicality to it, or small game, something like that as well, home defense, then I cannot recommend enough the AR pistol route. I showed you the difference between the pistol and the rifle at the beginning. And then for the range, really all you need, I recommend the foam plugs, some kind of actual ear pro, you know, like where you're putting some muffs over so you can double up. Eyewear you have to have. They're not going to let you shoot without this stuff anyways. And then ammo. I like a Gila when you can get it, just because it's cheap and it seems to function well on my guns. But some guns are different, you know, like, guns are different, but some guns like certain brands of ammo better than others. You have to play around with them before you figure it out. Read up, see what other people are shooting maybe with your model of gun that you've got. And for me, the Palmetto stuff has done well with it. The M&P 15 Sport 2 has done really good with it, with the Gila stuff. I don't have any Gila 22 long rifle. I've got a lot of Federal, shot some Remington, some other cheapo stuff. For the most part, most of them shoot all right. Sorry, I'm thinking, see if there's anything big I missed. Oh, one big thing. Get a cleaning kit. You don't need to be super fancy with a lot of stuff. We can go over this stuff in the future. But part of one is this. And then what you can do, so I had one of these the other day. So I was shooting. I had a 22 casing get lodged in the barrel. So I was able to go ahead and pop one of my cotton swatches on this. Well, I was able to just pop this in, punch it out from the back safely, you know, like away, you always keep your muzzle down range. Pop that out, and then I was able to go and run a cotton swatch through it, and it was back up and running. I was able to continue shooting. So if I hadn't had this, I wouldn't have been able to get it out of there. Now would I? So I'd have had to call it a day. Well, and I have other guns, but I wouldn't have been able to shoot that one anymore. So instead of doing that, be prepared. I also recommend needle nose pliers, because every now and then you might have, particularly if you have that CMMG kit, because what'll happen with the CMMG kit is you'll be shooting, and up in the top, up in here, you can't see what I'm pointing to because it's dark on here, but up there, that 22 long rifle casing, when it goes to eject, a lot of times it'll actually get stuck up in there, and then gun's not going to work until you get it out. And needle nose pliers is the easiest way. I've used, you know, my knife, stuff like that, carefully, but it's so easy with needle nose pliers versus that. So I carry those in my kit now too. So yeah, get the recap again. The gun, you obviously need ammo. You need a light if you're going the home defense route, and then sights. If you're not planning on having this available for home defense at all, or for any kind of situation at night, then I guess you could get your red dot or holographic sight. I'd recommend those beforehand, but I mean, I think that's stupid at that point, honestly. If you don't, unless you've already got a gun for home defense, once again, you know, like if this is just for fun shooting stuff, then you could get away with it. And then you can worry about things like grips and all that down the road. If you do the AR pistol route, remember you have to see what grips are allowed on there. You're not allowed to put like a full vertical grip on them. The angled foregrip is allowed, so AFGs are good. Just depends on what you're getting. But I like the AFG, so I just stick with what I know, and what I know is already good. And then, of course, backup mags, so that you can go ahead and not spend all your time at the range loading. Especially if you don't have a membership like I do. Even me having one, I'd rather not spend my time at the range loading. I load while watching a movie or listening to something from the comfort of my home. And then I also don't have to be taking up range, like lane time from people. You know, like, even though I don't pay for it because I've already paid for it for the year. But if they're packed, then technically for my range, you'd have an hour. And then if you're done at an hour, like even if you're not done at an hour, if there's people waiting on a list or something. Now, I've never had this happen, but if, you know, I've come close, I think, because it's been pretty big. I've had to wait before. But by the time I was in there, no one was waiting when it would have been my hour. So, because I usually shoot probably an hour and a half, 2 at a time. But yeah, the whole point of having the extra mags, it's nice with that. Not to mention, you need to have, I would say, once again, home defense, you need to have at least 2 magazines, the bare minimum. You probably won't be doing a mag change, but just in case you have a bad, you know, some kind of a jam, something has happened with your mag or whatever, you should have a backup ready to rock and roll. Okay, I think that's it. I've probably talked all y'all's ears off. Oh my goodness, 33 minutes on this. I'll be shocked if anyone watches all of this. But I'm doing this not for views, doing it once again for really just for my kids and grandkids and stuff one day. If they ever want to know the crazy grandpa or whatever, I don't know what we're going to call me. We've got a couple papa generations going so far on my dad's side. So my papa and dad is now papa to my children, so we'll see. Yeah, sorry, that was a long video. But yeah, I guess that's not simplifying things a whole lot going that long. So, yep. I don't have anything else to add to that. So, I'll catch you tomorrow. Later.